We are back to Great League Remix action with one of the most underrated teams. We're gonna use today a Toxic Rock team with Jellicent once again up in front, while this time Shadow Typhlosion will emerge as the perfect safe switch. Our Pokemon here can do so much work even up against the water types, and that's what makes Typhlosion such a great deal throughout the entire meta of Great League Remix. So I took back a lot of elo with this team after a very nice loss that I had with my Deoxys team, and also here we managed to get the shield on our Typhlosion so that we can get our hands on our Blast Burn. That way not only we can thread the shield out of play, but also we can return now into the game with Toxic Rock instead of Jellicent and have the upper hand. Ariados is gonna be their final Pokemon. Whatever they throw here is definitely resisted, and in the process we can easily switch out on our Jellicent and make them top left this first battle. Into the next one now with a Steelix up in front. Steelix is a Pokemon that is seeing the spotlight of Great League Remix so often lately, and I guess that you can completely counter it down with this team. Not only you got access to a fire type Pokemon like Typhlosion, not only you got access to a fighting type Pokemon like Toxicroak, but also you got access to this Jellicent which can thread it down with a couple of serves. So we're just gonna finish off the job, or at least I was hoping to, but Steelix can still survive with 1 HP and get our shield out of the game. That was definitely not expected, but hopefully before we go down we get the chance to get that shield back with our Shadow Ball. Big time damage, so they have to block, and I'm just gonna switch out on my Toxic Rock. Just gonna get my hands on the early move. I just want to keep Typhlosion here as my closer, even though it is gonna be used in general as a safe switch. So Wild Charge now can easily be taken. Typhlosion comes into the game, and with Deoxys lying at the very end, I do not care about how much energy Mew is gonna have. All we need to do is to charge up to a couple of Blast Burns and absolutely demolish that Deoxys. Not only that, but we also have one more Blast Burn for Mew, so that's gonna be an easy sweep for our Shadow Typhlosion. Into the next one, our trainers with Jellicent up against the Dragonair. Not the best lead ever, but still kinda playable. They can easily get destroyed down by a single Shadow Ball, and we can take advantage of the fact that their charge attacks cannot even touch us, but if they are careful on that shield element, perhaps they can easily farm us down completely. Anyway, speaking of farm down, we managed to destroy that Ninetales without them making it up to a charge attack, and that is absolutely awesome. Blast Burn for the nuke against Dragonair, and we still get the victory because they did not expect the one shot as it seems. Into the next game now with a Gallade up in front, and we also managed to get the extra Hex, which is pretty great. Now with the Leaf Blade coming off, we definitely need to respect the damage because this is a Shadow Gallade, and after all we got a lot of energy to spare. Now I'm just gonna switch out on my Toxic Rock because I want them to drop the remaining energy on my Pokemon, and even though they can do so much damage with the close combat, I'm just fine with it because Toxic Rock has already served its purpose. I want to keep that final shield perhaps for my Typhlosion, but first we need to get ahead of that Shadow Snizzler. So this Pokemon with RLAs and the Shadow Claw almost gonna finish us down. Hopefully we can survive. Now Abomasnow comes into the game, and right here we can do some cheap damage with Surf, but the real damage is with the Incinerate. Down they go to the 2-shot and one more Incinerate to get the complete farm down against a very funny trainer with a very weird team. Into the next one now with that Quagsire up in front. We're just gonna keep going at it with our Jellicent. No reason to switch out. This is a Pokemon that you definitely want to face with your Jelly and not with your backline. So by landing here the Shadow Ball makes me think that perhaps now we can have the upper hand with our moves. Now we're gonna get to the Surf, which means that not only we can thread the shield, but we can also guarantee the knockout if they do not shield. So yeah, same goes for us. So here comes now Toxic Rock into the game against that Poliwrath, and this is why I enjoy using this Pokemon. Pretty much like Annihilate, which is not allowed of course in the format of Remix and Great League, we're just gonna have Toxic Rock which can resist resist those counters, and of course overall and over time it can do so much more work against the entire meta. Now with the Thunder Punch we can get at least a shield out of the game so that Gligar can get out of our way, but Gligar can still hold on here with those two shields, and they're gonna reach now to the Night Slash. Down we go to the move. Now I'm just gonna expect another Night Slash, I guess. They might have no RLAs after all, and in the process they get the boost. I was hoping for a weird farm down, but as it seems this is not the case at all. I cannot get to the Mud Bomb, I lagged a little bit over there, and that is gonna be a devastating one for us. Into the next game now, trainers, with an Apollon up in front, and at this point I guess that we're just gonna take whatever move they're gonna throw. The second Drill Peck might put us at a critical condition, but till then we might get a chance to finish them off with a Shadow Ball. Look at how much damage we can do, and also they get to another charge attack, and I figure out here that we can easily survive it while we can still guarantee the knockout. Right here I decide to switch out on my Typhlosion, see what their backline might be consisted of, and they end up tanking the move now on Dragonite, almost with the one shot and the resisted Blast Burn. Down they go to the Incinerate, and now we're gonna go down to the Gas Lord. So we might have some energy on Jellicent, but obviously our main asset here is going to be our Toxicroak, so that is gonna be the end game for them, because not only we can survive the moves, but also we got the counter damage, which is absolutely great for the complete farm down. We are almost halfway the entire video, and we're facing another weird lead, this time a Shadow Dragonair. So Dragon types are almost everywhere in the Great League Remix format, and that's mainly because of how safe they can be. So having a team that can somehow beat those Pokemon down and are not fairy types is always a great solution. So this team might not see much, especially with Typhlosion over the dragons, but still that Shadow Blast Burn, you already saw how much damage it can do. So we managed to block here the move, and I guess that if we can block twice we might actually be on a very good spot at completely farming down. So this is my main plan, and I'm just gonna go right straight ahead for the Thunder Punch, which is something weird and I shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. Anyways, now Quagsire on the move, but we are still gonna win that CMP, and Blast Burn will finish off Quagsire without breaking any sweat at all. Now with my Toxicroak we can easily farm down Dragonair. At the very end Ferrothorn emerges, and all we need to do here is to reach to the Shadow Ball. At this point they definitely have some energy to throw, so I'm just gonna switch out immediately to my Jellicent, get the move on my Pokemon, and still get the victory because they just back out. Into the next battle now, everyone, with a Pelipper up in front. Not the best, not the worst. A simple Hurricane can do more damage than a Shadow Ball, so we need to be extra careful, but at the same time they need to go ahead and farm a ton of energy. So as it seems their plan here is to go ahead, charge up to a point that we throw a Shadow Ball, bank that energy, and then switch out on their Steelix, and obviously our team here is gonna perform pretty well even up against that Pokemon because we got every single move to throw. I realize here that if I do not go for the Thunder Punch, perhaps they can get their hands on a charge attack, and I do not want to spend a shield on that individual matchup, and right here I decide to go for the shield on the Pelipper. This means now that we can get on the CMP and especially on the Thunder Punch at the same point, which is pretty great to grab a shield out of play and of course make them drop the remaining energy that they have. Empoleon is their final Pokemon, and now Toxicroak can really emerge as the perfect anti-steal one. So down they go, and at this point I guess that Pelipper is the only Pokemon that is left, so they're just gonna leave this battle, and that makes up for that weird lag. Into the next battle now, everyone, with the Obstagoon up in front. Not the best lead ever. We saw an Obstagoon at the start of today's content, and I guess that we can already tell that this Pokemon is kinda of bad news for my team, especially when we cannot face it with our Toxicroak. So anyways, now Typhlosion with a Blast Burn able to obliterate down that Gligar as soon as it came to the battle, as soon as they saw the light of the arena, they immediately went out of there, and we managed to get so much damage on Obstagoon as well. Now both shields are even on both ends, and now Toxicroak can easily return into the battle to completely farm down. It all depends now on their final Pokemon. They end up having a Mantine, and obviously here I'm just gonna get my hands on the Shadow Balls because I want to do as much damage as possible, and in the process we managed to get that final shield out of play. Jellicent now with a block, whatever they do, it is already settled. They know that, and of course they back down. Into the next one now, trainers with a Quagsire up in front. Kind of a weird lead, but still let's see how they want to respond since they are switching out to Tentacruel. This is kind of a bad switch, to be honest, because at least Quagsire has something to throw, but Tentacruel not so much. So this is the perfect opportunity for me to switch out on my Toxicroak to try and sack all of those poison moves, and in the process we can grab those shields out of the game. Just gonna block the move here just in case this is a Scald, and it ends up being one, so we get destroyed down by those debuffs a lot. So I'm just gonna get my hands here now on the Mud Bomb, and they manage to get now on the next charge attack. I realize here that we cannot shield, so down we go, but still Typhlosion can return and charge up a little bit extra with that Blast Burn. Even if Quagsire returns here, we might be on a very good spot with our Blast Burn, so I'm just gonna get to that move as soon as we get there and unleash the power of the Nuke. My opponent here decides to go for the move, and I guess that we're kind of obliged in using a shield and then switch out on my Jellicent. So this has to be a neutral move, right? And we can take the Stone Edge like a champ. So in the process we charge up a little bit extra and then get our hands on the Surf. Down they go. Let's see what lies at the very end. Once again it is a Mantine, and we're just gonna destroy them down with a Shadow Ball. However, they can still survive, and I guess that the only win condition that we get here is if we can snipe through one Incinerate while we can survive one Aerial Ace. Well, the plan is executed pretty much fine, no lag occurring, and of course now we got access to Thunder Punch, which means that we can easily one-shot down whatever amount of HP this Mantine is having. Into the next game now with the Ninetales up in front. We're just gonna go to town with our ghost moves and of course the Surf for the bait. I get a feeling that they might actually block, but this is so far from truth. My opponent was definitely expecting this, and now we're just gonna go down to the Psyshock. Do not be a bad trainer like I am, you can do much better. So anyways, in the process we managed to farm down a ton of energy, and now with Gligar coming into the game, I find this as the perfect opportunity for me to get on the Blast Burn. My opponent will definitely shield here, and perhaps we can get the chance to grab both of them shields out of play, and with the shield advantage even Toxicroak can beat down a Flyer. So now we're just gonna get our hands on the Blast Burn once again. Down they go, Obstagoon at the very end, and Toxicroak can emerge just to make them quit this battle. Into the final one now, trainers, with that Pancake up in front. This Pokemon has the moves to destroy down my whole line, has the ground moves for my back line, and of course the electric moves for my Jellicent. So obviously this is a threat you do not want to see a lot on your remix battles, but it is what it is, and we need to face it for this final one for today's content. So here comes now another move. I'm just gonna take it. It ends up being just another discharge, so we fall down. I will take advantage of the shield advantage, and of course I will try to completely farm down by spending both of my shields. As you can see, the Pancake here is kinda bulky, they can survive my moves, but I'm pretty sure that even if they have a water type Pokemon at the back, we can easily get those shields back with a couple of Blast Burns. So here comes now the move, absolutely gonna demolish the HP out of this Quagsire, and they definitely are at the point that Aqua Tail is almost ready. So they end up taking both of these moves. This is absolutely absolutely awesome. And with Shadow Sableye returning into the game, and that was a pun because this Pokemon doesn't have any return at all, we're just gonna go ahead and finish off their final shield with our Mud Bomb. However, the battle is definitely not over yet. We need at least one Incinerate here, but we cannot register it, and down we go to the foul play. That final battle was awesome, well played to my opponent, and that is gonna be all for today. Thank you for watching, trainers, and for staying till the end. It really means a lot for my channel. But before you go, leave a huge like, subscribe to my content, and I hope to see you all into the next one.